All right. So in this section, we're going to find a small build that doesn't cost us very much and that's very efficient in terms of increasing our skills, mainly strength first. Get that strength up so we can run faster and run more and jump higher, right? Super important. But we're also going to be able to shoot a few players if we're getting shot at, just to scare them off a bit and make them stop. We're also going to be able to take some shots, maybe from scavs that we're encountering because we're not quick enough to organize around it and not die. And we're going to have some amount of meds and some amount of space to carry into the case. Now the alpha case I don't have because I sold it, costing me a little much right now as a player, so I don't want to go and buy one for nothing. So we'll imagine this is only a 2x2, which is what we all start with, and we'll make a build. So first off, let's look at this guy. A lot of players will go into the game like this and might fill their case with stuff that is not really important, like a CMS kit, for example. Let's buy one. So what people might do when they start with their 2x2 here is put a CMS kit to fix their broken limbs and a Salawa, right? To heal when they get shot. And they'll go into battle like this. Okay? The problem that I have with this is multiple. First off, you have no way to defend yourself. No, I should say, first off, you have no armor. And everybody recognizes this guy when he walks around, right? And some people will leave you alone because they recognize you and be like, okay, whatever. He's just a hatchet runner doing his thing. I'm not going to spend my money on him. He's got nothing. He doesn't even have a bag. And they recognize that you don't have anything. That's one advantage. But scavs don't care. They'll shoot you. And even if they shoot you shotgun from across the map and they hit those bullets, you're going to die. So we want to be a little more intelligent about going in with the cheapest build possible that would work out. So first things first, I don't think the CMS kit is very much worth it for new players, because if you get shot, you will die. If you get shot by players, you're not really worried about a blacked out limb. You're gonna die. So I don't carry one at all, like at all. If I lose a leg, I'm going to be limping until I get to the finish line. And that's just the cost of playing like this. And that's going to free up some slots in the case that we can use to put things here that we can sell to the vendors and make our money back and then fuel our builds back. And so that's the goal, is to find balance. Right? So the previous videos we've talked about map awareness, about player behavior and evading those players, and finding those scavs for missions, knowing what our goal is. What are we going into this map for? Are we there to loot and make money? If so, you need that pouch space, because if you die, you want to sell those 2 items to refuel. And that's the 4th point, balance. You want to balance that you're going to make money to refuel your build. So let's say, for example, that you're in the map, you found a sugar, and you found a chocolate, right? Now, with those two items, you're able to refuel your build. Or maybe not the sugar, because you can't sell it if you died on market, but you can reuse it. Chocolate is useful because if we go to the hideout, the point is if you're able to craft an item in the hideout, right? So say you use chocolate to craft a sugar. The sugar you can sell on market because the items you craft in the hideout are found in raid. They have the check mark and you can sell them on the market. So chocolate, for example, is great to have in your pouch because 2 of them will make you a sugar, which the sugar will sell for 70,000 maybe around. And that's the basis of the economy in Tarkov as it stands in 2021. You need sugar to make booze. You need booze to fuel the scav case. We give it to them. And they give us items, you know. Or players just transform the booze, the sugar into booze, sell the booze on the market for large sums of money. Okay, so that's the usefulness of building the hideout. Okay, let's come back. So we would keep the chocolate, and we would keep, I don't know, an ophthalmoscope or something special that would sell to the vendors. You can give to the vendors that they would be happy to take. And even if it's just a bolt and you don't have market yet, well, that's still 7,000 that you were able to get. Morphine is 10,000, right? A CMS kit, if you find one, 15,000. These are small items. I just sold most of them. You find a book, right? 40,000. So that's why you need that space in that pouch for those items, the most valuable items you're gonna find. And then again, if you have like a small case, why bring a Salawa, which costs 20,000, when you can bring an IFAC, which takes only 1 slot and costs 12,000 rubles, right? So now you have 3 spaces available. And you can put 3 things that you would like to bring back as if you die. Maybe crafting items, probably crafting items, or things you can sell or trade. All right, so let's do this here. Let's start with that. We have 1 IFAC for health points. So the problem I have with the hatchet runner is that he has no reach. He doesn't reach a scav unless he gets close to the scav, which is very dangerous. Or a player, which is almost impossible because they hear you. So you want to buy a gun. The cheapest gun possible. And I believe that is the PM pistol. I've played with this thing for a whole month straight, if not even more, just so that it can be used to kill scavs and then get their gear, but also because it's so cheap. How can you go broke with this? So you come to prepper. I believe it's level 1. Level 1, yeah, it's right here. When you start with him, it should be right here. You buy this. Does he have bullets? Suppose he has bullets. Sorry, level 1. The bullets are the clear ones. If you look at the chart, you get the best one that you can. And if you have access to the market, you would buy the PBM, which is what, 250 rubles. You fit 8 of those or 16 of those. How much is that? That's 4,000's worth. That's pretty cheap. PMM will do also. Maybe you can buy them from Prepper straight for 150. Right, 120 maybe. And you just go in like that. They have some piercing power. If we look at the chart here, show you real quick. We'll look at the Ballistics Chart, which is a chart that you should have handy. In the 918, the PBM, the PMM, the BZTGZH PM9, or even the RG, but the RG is pretty weak against any type of small armor, even the Paka. So I wouldn't go anywhere below the PM9 BZT. I remember it being pretty simple to get PMM and PBM on the market. And this will actually do great damage against any scavs, even if they have some kind of armor. And so you'll be able to get their guns, their armor, their vest, and keep going. We're going to be spending some time here to understand the guy, right? So now that we have a gun here, maybe it's not loaded yet. So you just right click to unload the gun. It ends up here. You take your bullets that you found with Prepper. And you put them into here. If you want to find more of these magazines, because you think 8 won't be enough, I agree. If you have access to the market, you filter by item. If not, Prepper has them. They're right here. It's the first mag available. We'll buy one. It's only 1,000 rubles. So that's very cheap also. So up to now, we're at what? 10,000 rubles? 15,000 rubles with bullets? Not even. There it is. Take your additional bullets. Stick them here. Now we keep that in the pocket or the rig so we can reload. Can't reload from the backpack. Talking about backpacks. So the question is, can we get like an armor? Right, an armor would be useful. And maybe some cover for our face because it's really white and people can like easily see it. Right? They can easily recognize the face also. So let's look at something for our face, for our head. Fragman will give us the clothes. So 22,000 here is going to cover your head, but only certain parts of your head, your top and your nape. So the top is here, the nape is behind. Armor 3. I don't recommend having a helmet at all for a cheapest build possible, because you're going to spend another 22,000 every time. You don't really have the money at first to do that. Let's start without a helmet. We can still cover our head with a little hat or something like that. Right, a balaclava, a hat. At level 2, he has the bandana, which I really like. I'll buy one. If you have an additional 2 tau, I don't think you do at first. This would do also, covering your face. Let's see the difference that it does in terms of like hiding somewhere and not being so seen easily. The bandana is here, so Look at the difference, right? It's much harder to see. If that's not enough, you can always take the CF, infrared balaclava. That really brings your head to a blacker tint rather than, sorry about that, this white bald head that everyone sees from everywhere, from a mile away. So these are just additional touches that I think are somewhat useful. It's harder for a player to aim at a blacker tint than a whiter tint on a black background. And it's very cheap. So say, for example, you're laying on the ground and you have a bandana on. It's going to be much more covered and decoyed like this if you're laying on the ground. Sorry. Than this when you're laying on the ground. Someone can clearly tell that's someone's head as they're passing by. For only 2,000 rubles, I think it's well worth it to cover your head a little bit. Let's talk about meds. I think meds would go next because you're going to get shot at by scavs and players. So you want to bring, my usual thing is a banded and a Nesmarch. And you can bind those if you highlight them, press 4 and 5 over them. So that way you can fix light bleeds and heavy bleeds. And you can have them here, or you can even have them in your stash like that. That way you will never lose them. If you die, you'll only buy the pistol and the bandana. But these are so cheap, right? You get them from Therapist at 2,000 each and 1,300 for the Esmarch. You'll use bandana bandages more, I think, than Esmarch. The only thing that would be worth buying are splints. So 2,600 for a splint. Let's buy a few so we don't have to come back every time. And you can bring that splint right here. That way, that I remember. I remember starting with this. Light bleed, heavy bleed, broken. You would fix, and then if you would have less points, you would use the IFAK to heal back your points. If you have a broken arm, you can make it to the end. If you have a broken stomach, you have time, but you can make it to the end. It only makes you cough and lose energy. If you have a broken leg, not a broken leg, but a blacked out leg, then you don't have the CMS to fix it, but you can walk to the end. It just takes a few more minutes and you'll get there. And as you find better things to put, you move the band-aid, you put a better thing here, like a chocolate that you found, for example, or God forbid you find a moonshine where you move these things up here and put great valuables here. That way you could lose this, but you won't lose these great valuables. And you'll be able to fuel your build. So in terms of very basic, that's what I use. Very, very basic. So now let's look at the difference. We have a guy who can reach scavs, who can reach players if they're really stationary and not moving. We have a guy who can shoot back and kind of scare off or like hurt a player a little bit and make him stop while you run out because you're in no shape to fight. you're trying to make money or whatever, you're trying to quest, just get out. We have a guy who's covered a little bit. And we have a guy who can heal himself, not die from a bleed. And who can get the victory. And this will be a perfect build for someone who needs to discover the map. Understand where the players are, who's there, what's happening. Someone who's questing, they don't want to spend a lot. You just buy 4 of these and you're good for the day. Right? No kidding. And then maybe after you're good at picking up stuff and you're able to do something, to sell things, then you will be able to buy armor. Right? But one more thing that I'm missing here would be a small backpack. So I'm a big fan of the tea bag, transformer bag. Big fan of the sling. Used to run the sling a lot at first. Just because it gives you that extra 2x2 slot. 2x1 slot, I mean. Like say you find something that's 2x1, you can't put it here. You can put it here. Or if you find something that's 3 long, you can put it here. Right? You can't put it in your 2x2 here. Say you find something that's 2x2. I don't think that, yeah, the pouch won't take weapons, so these would fit 2x2s. It's just incredible versatility. If you find a scav vest, you can put it in here. You can put it on your person, but you can put it inside. If you find something bigger, 3x3, it also fits. Right? So I find the tea bag to be extremely worth it. Now, who sells the tea bag? Do you sell tea bags, sir? No, he sells the sling. So you would buy the sling from him, 2,000. Okay, that's cool. I don't have space. Here. A sling here, 2,000. And now you have space for some additional items. This looks really, really stupid for a lot of really good players. But this tutorial is not for the chads. It's never been. It's for the questers and the players who want to learn more and want to have access to do things and don't want to pay a lot for it and want to go online with the other players. So something like this, really, really simple. If you don't like to spend your mag here when you die, you can put the bandage instead and keep the bullets here. But if you need to reload, you'll have to do this, then reload. Okay. And maybe after a while, you're really making some kind of progress, and you're able to put the bandage and Esmarch here, bind them. The splint here because it's not used that much. And then you'll have 2 extra space here for whatever. But the goal is to have some space in the Epsilon case to put valuables, right? And you can trade the splint and put the valuable here. And if you die, you'll keep the valuable. But let's look at, so you're going to go and do that, you know, some amount of time until you feel like you're having, until you're having some kind of fun. And if you want to skip this part and just move on to the next part, which is weights training, then I would bring the SAS folder drive with you like that. Careful not to put it away. That would be a mistake. in game. You always keep it in your pouch. A little IFAK, a little splint. Your 2 bandages will be here. But that's the cost of training your weight, right? You're going to pay 4,000 every time you die additional, but you're going to level up your guy and your skills, your strength, doing so. That's a cost. It's a very small cost. But yes, the SAS drives are 40,000 each. You'll get there. So now we have health points, bandages, a splint. We're training our weight. Maybe the SAS drives are not enough. Instead of having 2 SAS drives, which will clog your pouch full every time, and you can't put them away because you might lose them. Instead, I recommend using a body armor that is heavy enough. So let's go look at the market. Or maybe he has them. So this one won't do. It's not heavy enough. And it costs too much. Like for the same price, you can literally get this one, which is armor 4 compared to armor 3. So that makes no sense. And you have more space, I think. Also. Right, so that's 4 of these and 2 of these. And that's 4 of these and 4 of these. So who knows? But 50,000 might be a little steep at first. So we're looking at an armor that's worth like 30,000 maybe for the first armor that we take. If you can go on the market by that time, you can get those for pretty cheap. And you don't need to repair them. The goal is not necessarily to have armor, but it's simply to train your strength. Well, while we wait, you know, I'm streaming all the time. I love streaming. So if you have a question or anything, just pass by. It's a lot of information as a new player, but the more you play, the more you learn. And that's really what you're going to be carrying with you, all that knowledge. So if you have any questions, just pass by. I'd love to. I mean, we can run together too. It's all good. 40,000 here. Let's buy that. 40,000 is a decent price for an armor that will help you do a certain goal. So as you can see now, my weight is 22. If you put more SAS drives here, it's around 30. 30 is gonna make you overweight. It's gonna be yellow here, and that will allow you to train your strength. As soon as it's yellow, it trains the strength. You need to be overweight. Train your strength. So there you have it. Very basic setup. Training your strength while you're questing, while you're doing tasks for them. Killing scavs, finding stuff. You have some amount of protection for your chest, whereas gonna be most of the bullets are gonna land. And you've got some cover and some reach, and you're leveling up as a player. So next video will be going in like this, and we'll be looking at some stash positions and where things are in the world. I think we've done that in woods. We can do more of that. So basically what you want now is a video where you can follow the streamer while you're in the game and go to the stashes, so that way you do it once and then you'll never forget. And you'll be good to go. You know how to make money. You're not able to kill a player yet, most likely, but you can make cash. You can fuel your builds and you can have fun. And you cannot care if you die. That's huge. That's huge. Because the whole thing cost me what? 50,000? rubles, and we know how to make 100,000 rubles with a scav in no time, right? Oh, that's my other point. Sure. Play with the scav too, because it's free. You can just get out of there and get some weapons and some stuff. You know, you don't need to buy. All right, next video.